Hey all, I am Julia from Relatable Nonprofit. Today I am joined by Leanne Venable, a rising nonprofit consultant who's been doing some amazing work building her business from the ground up. We're going to talk about what brought Leanne into the Relatable Nonprofit Mentorship Program, the shifts that she's experienced, and where she's headed next. So, Leanne, let's start with where you were in your nonprofit career before joining the program. What were you hoping for, and what felt unclear or challenging at that stage?
So when I joined the mentorship group, I had just launched an LLC. And so I was looking for support and just anything that would help me keep this business together because unlike some of the folks that are in the mentorship group, I was not transitioning from full-time employment. I had lost my full-time employment. And it was almost this, like, I remember having a conversation with myself of, you're smarter than the things that have happened to you this last year. Like, you know better than to treat your employees or yourself the way that you've been treated this last year. And sadly, that was a low bar. But I thought, you know what? I was like, I'm going to try to make this work. I'm smart. A friend of mine uses the words hireable and desirable. I have skills. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do this and go for broke. And if it doesn't work, I can go get any old job. And it seems really naive to think about it like that, but I was so unhappy working for other people. And I was so tired of not fully showing up for my family when at the end of the day, that's what I have. That's what matters to me. And this is always something that fulfills me, but I had reached a point where it wasn't fulfilling me. It was draining me. And it was taking everything that I had to keep my professional life between the ditches. And I was coming home at night or logging off in the afternoon, and I was so unhappy, just so incredibly unhappy. And I was like, this is not the world that I signed up for 15 years ago. This is not the difference that I saw myself making. And it was a breaking point. And it literally was like, you know what? If this doesn't work, the worst that can happen is that you make no money, which you're also doing right now.
Right, right. So you took a chance on you. Well, I know
Mhm.
you've talked in the past about different mindset shifts that you've experienced and lifestyle shifts you've experienced since starting the mentorship program. Can you share a little bit about that?
So, probably the biggest mindset shift that I had to make was charging for my services because when you work in nonprofit, you're paid in water and sunshine. And guess who doesn't accept water and sunshine? Your mortgage company. They want to get paid American dollars every single month. And so, you think about, well, my time is worth this, and the experience that I bring to the table is very valuable. I've heard no a lot over the last 15 years, and I've launched campaigns that flopped before they ever went live. That's valuable. I can tell you what not to do because I've lived it. And so, just like when I hire a plumber or an electrician for my house, I'm paying them for their brain. If I knew how to do it, I would be the one holding the wrench. And I've just been really unapologetic about what my time is worth. And if you want to work with me, you can value my time at what I set that value at. And if you don't, that's okay. I call it the bless and release. I wish you well, but I'm also at a point where I want to work with people who are motivated, and I want to work with people who are actually looking to make a difference and not just make a difference on paper.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love hearing how confident you are now in your business and what you're doing. So tell me about a win, big or small, that you're proud of since joining the program. Maybe a client, a proposal, or even some clarity around your niche.
So I'm still working officially on what my niche is just because I'm only a year in and I'm still trying to figure out like what really sets my soul on fire in this space. But and it seems to have happened with all of the clients that I'm working with. Like, I always start with a place of gratitude and stewardship. So when people start talking about growing their donor base, I'm like, well, let's talk about the donors that you have now. And let's
Mhm.
talk about the supporters that you have now. How are you showing them the impact of their investment? If they're giving you money that is optional for them, how are you helping them understand how they're moving the needle? And it takes that conversation from acquire, acquire, acquire to let's take a deep dive on who we have in our pocket right now. Who is actually helping us? And it kind of makes everyone at the table take a breath. And we're like, okay, well, we may not have the number of monthly donors that we want, but we've got some. And even if it's just event based fundraising, they don't have to give you a dollar. It's not a required expenditure for them. Like they, in some way, have been inspired to give to your organization and to fund your cause. And so they've done that already. Are we thanking them properly? And those conversations always grow from, well, you know what? Y'all haven't spoken to these people in a while, or I have this person who now does this and y'all need to be talking to them. And it's that peer to peer fundraising. I mean, we all do it. I mean, how many times do you give to a cause you know nothing about, but someone that you know and love, it means something to them.
Yep,
And so, I mean, that's how we all do it. We do it because it feels good. I mean, the tax deductions are bonus, but we do it because it feels good. And you get to go from that standpoint of scarcity
yeah,
to gratitude. And I have a client that I'm working with now. It's actually a political campaign. And it's really easy to get in your head about fundraising and the number of votes that you need to win and all of that. And I've just challenged them. I'm like, look, I'm like, when you start spinning out of control, take that list of people that I gave you that have given you money for this campaign and start writing thank you notes. And it will
yep,
immediately bring you back to yourself and remind you that they gave to you for a reason and that they're invested in this too. And it's just to see that shift from scarcity to how are we going to really move the needle on this is just incredible, because I think when you're an employee, you're in there all the time and you don't have the ability to step back from it and say, well, this could be better. But if that's all you live, it's like, well, we don't have this and we don't have that. It just changes completely the way that you look at things.
absolutely. Now, I know you've shared in the past with me about wins that you've had in your personal life from your business with your family, your son, your father, being able to show up for them in different ways. Can you tell the audience about that? Because I do think that's a huge reason a lot of people want
Yeah.
to move into consulting is to
Yeah.
reprioritize their personal lives.
So I was working in higher ed. That's ultimately where this whole thing started. And if I could have crafted the perfect job description for me as a major gift officer, I couldn't have written one that was better. I worked with the College of Nursing, and they also had two incredible programs here in Hattiesburg, the Children's Center, which is for kids with developmental disabilities, birth to 5, and the DuBard School for Language Disorders that deals with everything from dyslexia to all the things that, keep kids from succeeding in school. And so I was working with nurses and kids, and it was just incredibly rewarding. But what wasn't rewarding is all of the after 5 stuff that comes with those jobs. I was traveling a lot. I was traveling more than I wanted to. And I was giving more of myself after 5 p.m. and on the weekends than I wanted to. And there wasn't enough left over for the people that matter to me. And it became very apparent that that wasn't going to work much longer when my dad got diagnosed with mild cognitive decline, which is a precursor to dementia. And I constantly felt like I was apologizing to my employer for not being fully focused on work, and I was apologizing to my family for not being fully focused on them. And it was just like it was this perfect storm of being in the wrong place all the time. If I was at work, I was supposed to be at home. If I was at home, I was supposed to be working. And especially COVID, we were working from home constantly, even if we had not been in that world before. And it just kind of threw that in overdrive. And I just remember just reaching this breaking point of I can't do this anymore. Like this doesn't work. And so the original plan was to come home and start my consulting business. And my husband's corporate job went away overnight. So I had to go back into the workforce. And after 6 months, that was a terrible fit, and found a different job with more flexibility. And that organization ended up going under, and they knew they were going under when they hired me. And but since launching this business and figuring out a way to monetize all of the things that I've learned over 15 years, like I can, like, I pick my kid up from school every single day, you know? And if my dad has a doctor's appointment, I get to go with him, and I don't have to apologize to people and tell them where I am or worry that I'm missing something. I can sit in his infusion suite with him and watch the Andy Griffith show or whatever it is that we're watching, and be fully present with him. And he's always like, every time we're there, he's always like, I hate you're having to give up time for this. I'm like, Dad, there's nowhere else I'd be.
It's so
Because
special.
I picked this, and I know that that time is finite. And like this summer, my kid and I, like, we lived at the water park that's new to our town. Like, we lived there this summer. I mean, we were there every time the doors were open, and I still got everything else done.
Yeah.
But we got to, I mean, and that was the life that I had dreamed of when I left the cushy academic job. I didn't want to leave, but it was time.
Right.
And what I didn't want is to stay and be burned out, because we've all worked with those people and they're not doing anyone any favors.
Well,
They're a danger to everybody around them.
tell me a little more about timing. You're saying the time was right for you. We talk to a lot of people who are considering starting their business or they're in the process of doing it on their own and they're considering joining the mentorship program, but they say they're just not sure, they're unclear, they're too new, they're not ready. What would
Yeah.
you say to someone who's on the fence right now?
So for me, the peace of mind that I got was the first month, if I didn't get anything out of it, I could get my money back. And so I've thought, okay, like, this is a significant financial investment. But after, I think, a week, it was evident to me that this was exactly what I was going to need to be successful in this business. And I don't even utilize all the resources. And that's my fault. But I would say, check it out, give them a try, hop on one of the calls, talk to some of the people that have been in it. Because one of the things that I've noticed is talking with some of the folks that are in the mentorship group, because we'll always get connected with each other. And, for the first 15 minutes of any phone call, mostly what we're doing is trauma bonding, because we've all been through those situations where, you thought your job was secure and now it's not, or, you took this job and the person who hired you completely lied to you. And it's like, you always think that you're the only one that has ever happened to, but all of that dies in community, right? Like,
Mhm.
all of that goes away when you start hearing, it's like, oh, well, that exact same thing happened to me, or something very similar happened to me. And one of the things that I always tell people when I talk to them is, you are so much smarter than you think you are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing that my husband and I said to each other when we became parents. People far dumber than us have been okay at this. They've made it,
So,
and it's like, you think about it, and it's not a discount on anybody who's been successful, but it's like, if you're waiting for the time where you feel smart enough and fully qualified,
yeah.
you're never going to get there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I'm curious as we finish up here, what kind of impact do you hope to make as a consultant in the sector?
So, my biggest hope is for board members and volunteers and people who hire staff to fully understand what it takes to maintain development professionals. Because I think you have so many people that are making those hiring decisions who have never had to fundraise, or they're at the mercy of a board who will not ask people for money, or they won't steward relationships. They just want to come to the board meeting however often it is, and they're not actually invested in that program. And I tell people all the time, they're like, well, we need to raise money, so we need to hire a development person. I'm like, no, you build the program, you hire the person, to throw gasoline on it and make it go.
Mhm.
You know, you don't create a position to create a program. That's not the way any of this works. And helping people understand that true meaningful philanthropy takes time. There is no magic grant tree. There is no magic money truck. I don't have the keys to a wealthy person's home that I
Yeah.
can. I mean, I don't. Like, I don't. And you don't want me to, because if I stop working with you, I could take them with me.
Hmm.
Like, these need to be your relationships. And, I get calls all the time. They're like, well, tell us who the people are that have money. I'm like, no, you tell me.
Right.
Who are the people that you're already talking to? Because that's how this works. It's not magic, and it's not skeezy sales. It's who is invested in your mission. And if nobody is invested in your mission, let's figure out who should be and start cultivating them. But it's not fast.
No.
If you're trying to make payroll next week, you probably should just shut your doors.
Right. Right.
And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but like, I can't save your payroll next week. That's not my job.
Right. No, I think you're helping a lot of nonprofits and campaigns and really turn things around and learn how they can grow sustainably. And you're doing a great job. And I also believe that your business is going to blow up in a real way in the next year, 6, 12 months, if you keep going as you're going right now. I know you've been doing really
Well, and
well.
it's crazy. Like, this is probably the most fun I've ever had in my life professionally. And I think it's because I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, if I need to put my head down and go to work and crank out some things and some projects, that's great. But if I need to clear my calendar because I have a friend that needs me, or if something else has popped up, calendar gets cleared. Those things
Right.
will wait. It'll happen. But it's just not, I don't say I'm sorry so much anymore. I'm
Right.
not as, oh, I'm so sorry I can't do that. No, I'm not sorry. I don't even wish I was. Like, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Fantastic. Well, for anyone watching right now who maybe wants to work with you or engage you in their own business, where can people learn more about what you do and connect with you?
So they can go to my brand new website, and it still has that brand new website smell. And it has exactly 1.5 pages because I have put that on the back burner, but it's littledogconsulting.org. And there's a story about why we're called Little Dog that you might find funny. If not, scroll past it. But it has my email address, and I'd love to talk to anybody. My thing is it should always be joyful. There should always be joy in your work. Not that your work is going to be sunshine and roses and rainbows and unicorns all the time. This work is hard work, but the root of it should be joy. And if there's no joy in your work, let's figure out how to get it there. Let's figure out how we're going to bring that back in, because that's the thing that sustains you. If it's not joyful and it's not bringing light into the world, why are we doing it? Maybe we shouldn't be. My favorite thing to do is to kill your event. I've killed 3 in the last year, and it has been incredibly rewarding.
Oh,
If you were begrudgingly doing an event, I would love to help you break up with it.
a great tagline. For anyone who wants to kill an event, call Leanne. Leanne, thank you so much for sharing your story and best of luck to you in the future.